organizations that took part of the annual gala. For those of you there, we had a great night. Now we start indulging into each of the performers that was there. And tonight we're talking about the opening season of the 118th season of the Timothy and Abigail B. Walker Lecture Fund. Here with me tonight is Dale Harrington, who is the president, and Arwen Fine, who is the secretary/treasurer.
Hi, David.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
New season, new faces, and new roles.
Right.
Yes, there have been some changes.
It's always good for change.
Yes,
Keeps
can't argue with that.
Exactly. New ideas, new things going on. So 118 years. Seems like a long time.
Yes, but fortunately we haven't been around for all 118 of them.
Exactly.
But the fund has been going since 1896, and we started with the bequest of Abigail, who insisted that Timothy's name also be on the name of the fund. Mm-hmm. It was going to be originally an Abigail fund, I think, and she said no, that wasn't fair, that it should be an Abigail and Timothy, and that's why it's the Abigail and Timothy, or the Timothy and Abigail B.
And when you look at what the mission was when it first started to what it is now, it's changed a little bit because it's not just travelogues now?
Right. Well, it wasn't just travelogues in the beginning, but it was lectures on education, science, and travel. So they did have speakers that were not travelers. They spoke on various topics that were of interest in education and science.
But almost half of them now are actually musicals and of that nature.
When I came on the board several years ago, they told me they wanted to change the format some, and maybe slow down on the travelogues and add some more of it in the entertainment. And that's what we've been working at, and it seems to have been successful. We're drawing bigger crowds and not filling the house every day, but we're doing a good job with it. You know.
But it's a great venue for that type of thing, especially for those in retirement communities. It brings them out.
Yes, it does. But the last 3 shows that we did last spring were 3 different types of entertainment. We had the Midsummer Night's Dream, which was a traveling theater group, which had an entirely new audience, people that were interested in that. And then we had Jordan Terrell Wysocki and the Irish dances for the Ceilidh. And then we had Scott Kirby
from Key West,
from Key West, starting his tour. That brought in a whole different audience, and especially a lot of people from Pennacook, because he grew up in Pennacook. And it was fun to have all his friends there to cheer him on, and a lot of other people that knew his music. So that sort of introduced a lot of different people to what we're trying to do, which is build the audience and give them more variety of things that will interest them.
Now, have you found that keeping it on Wednesday nights is still the best place to have it? Well, because I know for your first show you do now on Friday and Saturday evening.
Well, that's just because it's, to start the season, and because we bring in a bigger show with more entertainers. I mean, sometimes not more entertainers, but it's more of a show, a variety show of kind, that we find that the weekend works for us. But I don't think we've ever discussed changing Wednesday.
We may have discussed it slightly, but we're changing things, but slowly. Wednesday nights seem to work right now for us, and we'll leave it there, as far as I'm concerned, for the near future anyway.
Right.
And,
well, I don't think that we could get 14 weekend nights anyway, because the auditorium is booked pretty solid for the whole year. So I think staying on Wednesday night is pretty much a given as far as, well, I can't see it changing in the future, not for a while anyway.
So let's get right into what's happening. You start on Friday the 26th of September and Saturday the 27th.
We're doing a tribute to George M. Cohen with the Majestic Theater Group out of Manchester again. two-night, like you said, two-night venue. Should be very interesting. Should be uplifting songs, good up-tempo stuff. Everybody's familiar with Cohen.
Yankee Doodle Dandy and such. There'll be 8 performers, 4 female, 4 male, and a small pit orchestra. It's directed by Rob Dion, or at least produced by him. I'm pretty sure he's directed it too. And Carol Nevo from Concord is doing the costuming for it, so that's nice. Should be fun.
Nice way to start the season.
Yes, yes.
And we're following it right up the next Wednesday, October 1st, with North Sea Gas, a Scottish group. They've been operating for about 30 years, and very lively group.
And they're a Scottish group from Scotland.
Yes.
They're traveling here for a tour. And so they have won many awards over in Scotland with music competitions and festivals. So I think we're very lucky to have them as part of our fall schedule.
And I see from the lineup, they actually have different types of instruments that they're playing and so forth.
Yes,
Yes.
many instruments.
Yep.
It's 3 fellows and 1 gal.
Then we follow into October 8th.
Yeah, that's kind of going back to our travelogue format. Michael
Turgayas.
Turgayas, he was here several years ago, brought us a good program on the Connecticut River, for those that saw that. And he's coming in with Superstorm Sandy. It's the story of the Bounty was the ship in the movie, The Mutiny on the Bounty. And when Hurricane Sandy was heading up the coast, he decided to go down the coast with the ship, and it was lost. And that should be a very interesting topic.
They're moving right along to October 22nd with
3 of
Three of
Cups.
Cups.
Yes, 2 ladies. They will, for the first half of the program, they will do a talk, the history of folk music, where the different songs originated that they're going to perform. And then the second half, they're actually going to perform. So it's a lecture music evening. They're going to lecture the first half and sing the second half, which should be pretty interesting and different.
Give a little more info of what each instrument does, and then see it actually working. And
Correct.
then we go to October 29th, in good company, Hail to the Chief.
Yes.
This is a good family show, probably of interest to everybody in the family. I believe the cast is even made up of all age groups.
It
and,
is. Children to adult. I think there's 20 of them, and they come up by bus. They're located in Massachusetts, and we were going to schedule them a couple of years ago when they went under the name of the Revels, and for some reason or other they dissolved that company and started up again as In Good Company. It's sort of the same thing, but it's a different name, and family entertainment, children, as I said, through adults.
And it's sort of a reenactment of politics and political campaigning from years back, when people were on the back of a train campaigning and
really?
had bands and songs and
Right. It's
campaign
not.
songs.
It's not an evening of politics, but it's
No,
an
it's
evening
just
of political songs. You know how they would have a song to cheer them on, or "Hail to the Chief" type thing. Then that's what they're doing. Historical songs of the various election years of the various presidents.
That in itself should be interesting.
Yes, I think so.
I mean, I would think that'd be a good thing to pitch to like the history classes of all the schools.
It would.
You know. Then we move into November. How quickly the season flies. With Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Yes. Edward Webster, he's located in Maine, that's his home, but he's had many adventures on Mount Everest. And he would,
At one time, he spent 5 years there and trailblazing a new route to the top. Without oxygen, without the local help, and it goes his own way. It should be a very interesting night. Yeah.
And that takes the first half of the season, other than the traditional Messiah, which is at St. Paul's School. St.
no,
Paul's
St.
Church.
Paul's
Church.
St. Paul's
Church.
Church.
St. Paul's Church,
Yep,
yes. And
our-
that's
Our
Two.
annual
our annual, you know what?
tradition, and it ends the winter season or the fall season
The fall
for
season.
us. And we take January off before we begin again in February, late February. Weather.
So where do you actually go to get to try to line up your programs for the various years?
Many of them come to us.
Right.
We,
We already have several groups and individuals that have contacted us for the 15-16 season. They contact us, we talk about them, we find out, you know, their fees and their needs, and sometimes we have more than we can possibly use, and other times, you know, we have to go out looking ourselves, but I don't think we had to look for anyone last year.
Not really. I mean, we discussed an Irish Ceilidh, and I got a hold of Jordan Taro Wysocki, and he put that together for us. And then Scott Kirby kind of stumbled into town, and I talked to him and asked him if he would be interested, and he was very interested in doing it. So, you don't have to search too hard for the shows.
And sometimes the general public will
suggest.
write a note, or they'll call up and say they saw someone someplace else, and they thought that would be a good walk-a lecture, and so we'll contact the person. I just had a call today, actually, from someone who is interested in booking into the 15-16 season. So we're very fortunate that way, and it seems that the word is spreading more and more about the series. I think the
Right.
idea that, you know, they can just come in and do the series and not have to worry about whether or not enough money is going to be made to pay them. You know, they know right up front that it's a series that brings in performers, pays performers, but doesn't ask them to participate in any way other than to perform.
I think, I mean, this also demonstrates that there's a lot of really great
Acts, performers out there,
throughout this
talent, lots
community.
of
Exactly,
talent. yes.
exactly.
Yeah. And we have a great facility for them to perform in. I think they are impressed by the Audi, and they talk to each other, and it's
So who else is actually on the board of directors for the walk lecture?
Well, we have a new trustee, Gene Conlon, who's done your show several times, resigned this past year. And we invited Cynthia Baldwin to come on board as a trustee. And she said that she'd love to do that. And so
she has been involved with our SVP, worked as an usher, and she was very familiar with the program. So
I think she's ushered just about every show in the last few years, and she remembers some of the shows better than we do. You know, when we're at the meeting, she says, "Oh yes, I remember," and she'll tell us something that she remembers about the show, which is, I think, really great. You know, that she has the history of the walkers, of the walker lectures, rather than someone coming in on board who probably has never come to a walker lecture. I think it's better to have someone who's really involved and cares, you know.
Exactly, because I mean, they know the history of it, they know what involves, and so you don't have to like train somebody to say, oh yeah, I want to do this, but it doesn't really fit into the program.
Right.
and we don't seem to permanently lose people either. Dick Osborne was in town last week and attended the meeting. You
Oh,
know,
really?
Yeah,
Yes, it was fun to
nice
see
have
him.
Yeah.
And David Tardif,
Tardif
we
was
invited
there, yeah.
David to come so that he could visit with Dick also, and we had a nice lunch and all, you know, caught up on everyone's lives, and it was really nice.
It's
fun
always
for
good.
all of us.
Exactly. And then they can see how you've done, how you've made change things or made it better, or, new ideas brings new things.
Well,
Right.
Dick's comment was he was impressed with the schedule, so he's not easy to impress. So that's a
No.
that was a good sign.
Right. Well, we did, I think, when I first came on board, we were doing maybe 6 to 8 travelogues.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with the travelogues is that there aren't that many videographers around anymore that are going out traveling, and sometimes it's really difficult for them to get into some of these countries.
Right.
I have been in contact with someone who is going to be coming up from Florida during the 15-16 season, because he has a very interesting travelogue that I learned about. And in fact, I had a poster in my notebook from someone had sent it to me. And so he's going to be coming. I don't want to say, what the country is, but it's a country that we've never done before. But he was telling me on the phone that there are so few people now that go out and do the travel shows, because it's available to so many people now on television and on their
I think
smartphones.
the big TV stations are doing a History Channel and Discovery and that. And hard for the little guy to compete with that, I believe.
And that's happening everywhere. Even here at Concord TV, I know our board has discussed the way that things are changing, that people are not watching TV no more. They're actually, everything's done through smartphones and
Yes.
through the internet. And, so, things are changing. So we need to look at how we're doing things, to keep up with it.
And there's more TV competition in town
Exactly.
right now.
Exactly.
I mean, it used to be, there was Concord TV and the Manchester station and their news, and that was pretty much all that was local. But I discovered the new station, and I was very interested in watching what they were doing.
I haven't actually watched it yet.
It's very clear, very nice.
So with the opening show coming up, do they need tickets or?
Oh, no, that's something we must stress. We don't have tickets. We've never had tickets. Well, I won't say never, because when the show started in 1896, people used to hire little boys and pay them a quarter to go stand in line to get tickets for them,
really?
for the travelogues. Yes, and this whole story, I must also tell you, is in our book that we have, that anybody that comes to the auditorium can have one of these great books. And it tells the whole history of the Walker Lecture Fund, and it lists every show that was ever done right up until, I think, 2000, when they published the book. And one of the interesting stories is that they would hire these little boys to go and stand in line to get tickets. The shows first started in White's Opera House, and it wasn't as large, but they would sell out quickly. I mean, not sell out, but the tickets would be given out quickly. But I don't think the tickets, they've had tickets since it's been in the auditorium. And of course, the auditorium, when it was first opened in 1904, it was larger than it is now. I mean, physically, it's the same four walls, but it had a big second wraparound balcony, and they had seats on the floor that could be moved so they could have dances and performances on the floor. So a lot has changed, but there are no tickets.
And there's no fees to attend a Walker Lecture. It's free. It's always on a first-come, first-seated basis.
Which you don't usually sell out.
It's the best price in house.
Exactly.
No, we've had a couple of shows over the years that have been pretty tight, for seating, but usually anybody that comes can get a seat, and we're so glad that the retirement communities do offer a trip to the auditorium to their residents, so that they can come and enjoy it, because there's nothing better than going to a free show if you're
Exactly.
if you're retired and on a fixed income.
Great. We're just about out of time.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to say about the
just
first half that we haven't talked
Mention
about?
our magnetic signs that we're going to hand out.
Yes, we're going to be handing out these magnetic signs. I know you can't see them on the TV sets, but they're to put on your refrigerator or next to your computer on your file cabinet, and it has the whole year. Excuse me. It has the whole year of our programming, and even though you can, you have the brochures that came in the mail for many of you, it's worth picking up one of these magnets, because then you can put it up there and never forget to come.
That's right.
And we don't want anyone to forget to come. We have a wonderful season. Both halves are really
You
great.
do. Well, I'd like to thank you for being my guest on tonight's show.
Well, thank you for
You're very
having
welcome.
us.
And look forward to you. And I really encourage you to come out and help enjoy many of the performances done by the Timothy and Abigail B. Walker Lecture Fund during the 118th season. Again, Friday, September 26th and Saturday the 27th at 7:30 is their opening performance. It's George M. Cohen live music review by the Majestic Theatre in Manchester. And again, no tickets, just show up. Doors open at 7 o'clock. With that, I'd like to thank you for watching and look forward to seeing you at the Audi. Have a great night.